Faith Forged in Fire, where we dive headfirst into the unique challenges and triumphs that comes with being a firefighter, all while exploring what it means to live out a biblical worldview. Join us as we find hope, perseverance, and faith in the midst of the heat and chaos. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Tonight we're going to go over what is it like to be married to a firefighter. And as you notice, PJ's changed his looks a little bit. He grew some hair.
The whole setup looks a little different.
It does, yeah. Are we in the right place? Amy's got.
Where are we supposed to be?
Amy's got high taste. She didn't like the old.
She didn't like she's like that desk has got to go.
While she's here, it looks like this. As soon as we're done, we bring the table back in and we go back to the old way.
Today it's talk show. It'll be back to reporting the news next week.
So this is Amy. This is PJ's wife.
Say hello, Amy.
Hello.
And we've got some questions for her tonight. So
Pertaining specifically to PJ. I'm just kidding.
Yay.
I'm just kidding.
most of them are about PJ.
Most of them actually are, yeah.
Actually, this is a behind your backs podcast.
Episode 1.
People have been talking about it, and I figured we're just going to kick this off the right way. Turn around, PJ. So I wrote down some questions today in between things, and they're not really in any particular order. So we'll just start at the top. So when you first started off, is there something that you wish you had known then that you know now about the fire service?
I don't think so. When we started, it was we're in it for the ride. There was no expectations. There was no, he can only do this type of situation. It was our family's on a new adventure. So
What was your initial thought when he came to you and he's like, I think I want to be a cop's hero?
okay. He originally came to me and said, cool opportunity. I have been asked to be the chaplain.
Right.
So he didn't even start out as a firefighter.
Right.
So when he wanted to become a firefighter, he had done the chaplain business for a little bit. And so sliding right into a firefighter didn't seem too harsh or out of this world.
Did you ever really threaten to kill him? Because that's kind of his side of the story is he didn't want to be a firefighter because you would have killed him. So now that we got you, let's see.
You're throwing him under the bus.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, I think it's on recording, in one of the outfits. So it's really,
Well, that's true. That's fair. That's fair. It's out there. It's out there in the internet waves.
Yeah, one of our listeners probably.
Nah, I went and killed him.
You wouldn't have killed him?
So initially, though, it kind of came across as like a new ministry, like a new outreach, a new way of serving God through chaplaincy.
Loving our community,
and,
yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
wow.
What have some of the challenges been along the way? I know that's a really wide open question.
It is very wide open. And he's been in the firefighter lifestyle for 11 years, 12 years.
I was thinking 11 or 12.
So that's a long time to. I think this is the dead air part.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
Well,
What's that? That's true.
For anybody that's wondering, that's Josh is in the background.
he's directing the answers here.
He's our producer today.
Yeah.
So probably no major challenges that are sticking out.
I think the biggest thing is the schedule. If we have something planned, if there's a house fire, if there's a fatality in an accident, like those are pretty intense situations that he's going to need to be there for. And so we know to be flexible, and Daddy all of a sudden is not doing what we're doing and headed off to be a firefighter. So I think it's just time.
Let me ask you, I was kind of curious because I'm thinking about that. Do you allow Josh, is it just when he's at home, or are you guys like out somewhere and like, hey, call came in, we got to take off, family?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's at really, as long as you guys are close to home and so, or close to the station in some way.
Yep.
He's like, I got to get going. You
Yeah.
know? And so pile in the car. We got to go get everybody. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have, we've been coming back from Grand Rapids at one of our outings, and we were probably 7 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
And I was driving. He got a call. I don't remember the call. I think it was fire related. I don't know. So he goes, "Oh, I need to get there." And I'm like, okay. So I increased my speed, not a lot, but I increased my speed.
Nice.
And we got here into Howard City, and the light had turned red. And I'm like, I can see the fire station from here. Like,
yeah.
So I went through the parking lot of a business.
Oh, nice.
And got into the firehouse. And that next Sunday, one of the deacons busted me.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oops.
So,
Shame.
Yeah.
We have been out and had to turn around or get to the firehouse quickly.
Wow. No, that's, well, it's just thinking about that. It's, you know, it's got to be tough. You know, here you're just enjoying time as a family, and all of a sudden the tone goes off. You're like, hey, we got to stop everything we're doing and, you know, go run. Anything, maybe like you make rules like, hey, if we're out, that's someone else's responsibility. If you're at home, it's one thing.
Well, what's that
Yeah.
like at home? What's that experience like with when he's already has a call, he's preparing to go? Like, what is that like? Is that like, oh, kind of everything's up in the air at the moment? Or is it, I mean, maybe by now it's a little bit more expected.
It's expected.
Sure.
We know Daddy has to leave quickly. We help him get his keys, get his radio,
Nice.
make sure his boots are ready to go. Give the hugs and kisses as quickly as we can.
Sure.
So yeah, it's just you adjust to the moment. You don't really sit and have thoughts about it every single call.
Right.
You just do.
Sounds like they're happy to get rid of him to me.
The kids truly don't know any different. It's just lifestyle for them.
Because they're young enough that this has been a part of their life,
Their whole life. Yep.
Yeah.
So this isn't anything new to them because they really don't have a before and after to compare to, do they?
No, Olivia was very young, a couple months old when Joshua started Fire Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he would leave for work 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, get out of work around 6, go straight to Academy, come home near 11, and then repeat it the next day. And so this has just been life since she was a couple months old.
Wow.
So that was a sacrifice for you too at that time.
It was. But again, you adjust. It was a family choice to enter the fire service. And as a family, we each do our role.
Yeah.
So, but we adjusted. I would adjust Olivia's schedule throughout the day so that at 11 she would be awake, and Joshua could have a few minutes with her, get her ready for bed, read to her, do the nighttime routine, just so that they had that connection.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
That's
So
very cool.
You adjust.
Yep.
Nice.
So kind of along those lines, if you were to talk to somebody, even here at church, grocery store, or wherever, and they were saying that their husband, or I should say their spouse, is going to get into the fire service, do you have like advice for them? Good, bad, or otherwise? I mean, what to expect? What would you want to tell them?
I would, for me personally, when Joshua goes out the door, I pray for him, and I know the Lord is the one ultimately in control. And so I just rely on the Lord. So that would be my advice. You have to have that strength to support your spouse and to keep yourself functioning as well.
Kind of along those lines too, what do you wish that people would know about the family dynamics of being a fire family? Like what's something that maybe people don't understand about it?
Like in general as a society, or?
Yeah, just anybody in general.
I think sometimes the the picture of sacrifice gets a little muddled along the way.
Sure.
Daddy's a firefighter. Joshua's the firefighter. So he goes and he does. There's no concept or context of what he is actually doing.
Yeah.
And so for the sacrifice of, we just sent our loved one out the door to an unknown call, to an aggressive situation, to a rollover on the highway.
Right.
Like all of those sacrifices, every single call, I think kind of get covered up of the blanket of, oh, he's a firefighter.
Right. Yeah.
There's true risk.
Yeah. I think it's definitely fair to say that we as a society kind of dilute the real risk of being a firefighter with the valor that goes with it and the glory that goes with it. Especially, you know, you have movies and everything that just glorifies everything without really understanding the true nature of what comes along with it. And then real quick, I want to touch on, we've talked about the shoes in the closet.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that you can have shoes in the closet as a family member, even if you're not the firefighter? Not necessarily you specifically, just anybody, the spouse of a firefighter or the kids of a firefighter, where, you know, whether we want to or not, you know, we bring those things home.
Yeah.
And, you know, our family is our, you know, our safe place.
Yeah.
Like this is our closet where we put our shoes.
Yeah, well, I would think is if Josh comes home and you know it was something rough,
Yep.
and you could see it in his eyes, you're affected as his wife,
Right.
Like
right.
It's not just
Exactly.
him affected,
Right. Exactly.
Everybody feels like, oh, we got it's a bad day. It's like, you know, like you're like, hey kids, just go play or whatever. Like, you know, dad's it's that kind of thing where everybody feels the emotions of the call as well.
The impact.
The impact,
Yeah.
exactly. The impact of what Josh has experienced. And so,
Yeah, exactly.
how does that, I mean, how do you deal with that when you see that? Because obviously you want to support your husband, but also you want to leave him deal with it the way he feels like he needs to deal with it. So it's kind of like you're in that tough spot. Like, what do you do, I guess, in a way? Because you're not, it's hard to understand because you're not there.
Yeah.
You're not going on the call.
And then you have the kid dynamic in there as well that you want to probably shield from.
Well, yeah. And I'm sure
some of that. I mean, age appropriate, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm sure the kids don't understand. But they just see that
Right.
dad's a little quiet right now
And
or whatever, but they don't really understand fully yet.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, this was something that we I don't know if you guys remember, we talked a few weeks back around the holidays. We had talked about specifically that, you know, bringing things home after the call and everything. So that's kind of what popped into my mind. So yes, thank you, Steve, because that was exactly the road I was heading down with it.
Yeah, and I was thinking that myself because that's got to be a big, you know, and again, for any spouse that deals in a fire family, that the emotional cost that's there when things are not so good.
Right.
You know, because again, it affects. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my wife has told me, you know, and she says it like, when you worry, I worry, or whatever. Like it's just in general in life. So that there's that thing that you know, your spouse is a connection of you, and so when he's hurting, you're obviously hurting as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, how do you guys have a routine when that happens where you guys handle it a certain way? Like either you pray together or is there something you guys do to help with that? I guess it's kind of like that. I guess that debriefing. I guess in a sense, in a sense, it's kind of like a debriefing, right? It's just on a different level because it's with your spouse, not with the people at the station.
We're pretty open with our kids. If there's a hard call, we'll allow them to understand age appropriately.
Right.
Like this was a hard call. People are hurting.
Right.
We encourage them to pray for those people, to pray for daddy. And so we do allow them to understand this wasn't an easy call.
Right.
This was a hard one. Joshua does a really good job of when he does come home, he's not down and out. He's not angry or distant.
Right.
He's pretty open and vocal with this was a hard one.
Yeah.
So, and we take it case by case. There's been a couple hard ones to where we didn't right away talk to the kids about it.
Sure.
But I'm sure they pick up on it.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. we need to give kids more credit. They're way smarter. They see way more and hear way more than we give them credit for. So
Oh yeah.
definitely. And they can definitely feel that too. They can pick up on that.
So would you discourage if somebody was going to come and say that their husband or wife wanted to be in the fire service? Would you discourage them?
Never. I would never. We have seen the value of Joshua being a firefighter, of how it impacts people's lives, how it impacts our community, how he has a better outreach and a better communication with people because he's been there in those boots, on those hard calls, in the experience. There's too much gain to tell people it's not worth it.
Yeah. That's a really good point too. Especially for, younger pastors, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for them to reach people when they're so inexperienced, not just as a pastor, but just in life. If they're a 24-year-old pastor at their first church or whatever, I think having that experience, firefighting or the public safety sector in any way, it almost lends to like that credibility of like, okay, well, you've seen life at its worst. You've seen real life, out there and what people deal with. And so I think that kind of lends to that credibility and can help, help further your outreach with people.
Yep. People will warm up to you quicker if they know that you've been where they were just at.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
So you would encourage somebody to get into the service, and you said that with a little bit of pride, that you're proud that what PJ does,
definitely
makes a difference.
Yep.
So on a far note, is there a call that sticks out in your mind that like when he came home or you heard about it on the news that you were like, that's my boy.
That's my guy.
That's my guy. Is there one? I mean,
That's my boy.
There's probably, a few. I wouldn't say that there's just one, but I mean, off the top of your head, can you remember one that you were like, yeah, like you wanted to share it with everybody?
I honestly can't remember any.
So you're not proud of him at all.
I didn't say that. No, we are.
That was a trap. Come on.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah, that's it. Show's over.
He's sitting right over there without a mic, so he's kind of like,
He's got a mic.
yeah.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah. No, we are abundantly proud of him. To our family, like we see the sacrifice that he does. We see the love that he pours into people. Like he loves being a firefighter. For us to pick a call that we're proud of him would be hard because we're always proud of him when he goes and he gives 110%. Yeah. So we're just proud of him. We love him.
We kind of like him too.
Yeah, he's all right.
You ever seen him on? Has he ever been on TV? You ever seen him on TV where you're like, hey,
I feel like he's been on TV at least twice.
And then did you make him bring you donuts?
Yeah, or ice cream
No,
or something.
I did not know
Donuts,
that was
ice
a
cream.
thing.
So that's a
That is
thing.
a thing.
Just so you know, because now
Technically,
it's
he's
my
on
turn to
TV.
throw him under the bus.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, for the other firefighter, if you get seen on the news,
so
you
obviously,
owe everybody else donuts.
So obviously, Amy, he did not tell you about fire department culture. I could tell that's
I feel like
kind of left some.
Listen, there's some things that you leave at the station.
Yeah, that's true.
My understanding was it was donuts if you made the newspaper and pizza if you made the TV.
I feel like you need to be paying up.
That was my understanding.
Knowing PJ, it's going to be those little gross Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Oh, our family loves those things.
I tried to eat one here actually. And I was like, oh no, this is horrible.
Yeah, it was like 3 months old. It was.
That was
Kids love them.
It probably was.
Remember that?
That was a dare that TJ set me up to see if anybody
Thank you,
did
TJ.
it. So yeah. So if you had the ability to change something, is there something that you would change? I mean, would you make mental health more of a priority? Would you make, what kind of avenues would you go down if you could change something in the fire service to make it better?
Okay, I had an answer, but that is a really good answer.
So go with your answer.
Well, the fact that these people who willingly sign up for this really cool job, they are truly damaged by some of these calls that they go on. And there's not always adequate help or adequate resources. And so I would agree that mental health would be a priority. One of my pet peeves for my second answer, just the appreciation for firefighters, for first responders overall. When Joshua goes out the door and he's on the side of the road, the apparatus is sideways to protect the scene, protect the life, to preserve the integrity of the accident. People will just pass by so fast without even care or concern that somebody's loved one is there.
Yeah.
Someone's dealing with an emergency right now. Someone could be in a life and death situation. And to them, there's an apparatus that is a bump in the road on their way home.
Yeah.
And so,
We're an inconvenience.
yes.
Perspective.
Yep. So all they see is that apparatus, or they see the coat and boots. They don't pay attention that that's a real person who belongs to a family that would love to go home that night.
Mm-hmm.
So just the overall attitude and appreciation for firefighters, first responders, that what they do is risky, but quite valuable, and we should respect it.
So you just talked about, people recognizing things. Have you ever been recognized? Because we're the ones that are wearing the boots and the coats and the hats.
Yep.
PJ wears his jacket someplace and inevitably somebody, like when we were at the rally last weekend, inevitably somebody will come by and go like, oh, you're a firefighter? Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for your service. But has anybody ever done that for you? The families? I mean, as like the local fire department where you're at, have they actually like recognized family or anybody else like that and said, hey, there's more than one person in this fire service when PJ shows up. He's got a wife and kids.
I don't remember, but it's not something I seek either.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The way I see a valuable recognition, I guess, is when we go visit firehouses, and if we have our kids with us, those firefighters, those chiefs, those admin, they will go above and beyond to make sure our kids feel special. They will give them treats, allow them have snacks, give them little trinkets, let them go through the trucks. Huh? Yeti cups.
I wish I had that budget.
It's the way they treat our kids and make them feel special. So recognized for being the wife of a firefighter, I don't think so, but I don't need it either.
Okay. So overall, would you say this experience has been rewarding?
I would say yes.
Even for you and the kids, it's rewarding for you guys?
Yep. The kids, anytime daddy's in the fire truck and zooming by the house, they will stand in the big picture window because they know their daddy's coming by. So you could see the pride in their eyes.
That's very cool.
You can see the love for the job. And that's a reward. Yeah.
So when daddy's flying by the house, 120 miles an hour. Said
That's
zooming.
That's just in his car. That's not even running code.
Yeah. So when the kids are there waving, and no worries, they do it to me when I honk with my Subaru too. So it's not just you.
That's a different kind of wave. That's like a
get out of here.
What are you doing here, Rich?
Can't believe that car made it this far. When you see the kids, I mean, obviously they're proud. There goes dad.
Yep.
He's a firefighter, going to go change somebody's life or whatever. Do you ever see him concerned?
Oh, always. Yep. There's always a concern. In fact, you sent the list of questions, and I asked Olivia one of the questions on the page, and her response, without even hesitating, so it was a very quick response. She goes, I can't remember the question it was, but she goes, Daddy might not come home. So it's a very real concern and worry for all four of us. Through the day, when Joshua goes on a call, it's easy. Not easy to let him go, but easy to help the kids through daddy's leaving again. At nighttime, when daddy has to go on a call, if they are already in bed, they wake up and they get out of bed. They're very restless, and they are restless until daddy's home again.
Yeah.
So it's hard to calm them down and comfort them because they do have that fear in the back of their mind of daddy could not come home tonight.
Yeah, I got to think it's easier during the busyness of the day to busy yourself with things to distract yourself. But in the quiet of night,
Well, now the other kids are at school or something, so they don't even know anybody. The dad ran a call because they're at school and they're not, don't know anybody. Like I said, at nighttime, how do you sleep when dad's gone? You're just hoping everything's okay.
Yeah. But I think that's a good point to put out there to anybody who's listening and watching to reiterate your point before of like, that's not just a coat and boots. Like that's somebody's husband, somebody's father, and somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's wife. And
I think it's good to point out, because I know we're talking in the sense of with the fire service, but we're also talking in the sense of the volunteer service too. Because there's, as we explained earlier on, it's different between the paid guys are already at the station versus you're like you said, when you're at home, you're consistently leaving all the time right in the middle of stuff. Yeah. It's a different type of inconvenience to the family, different type of at times frustration when you're trying to have family time and you're taking off to run to a call. So for the viewers to understand what the volunteer, the paid on call guys go through is also probably, again, harder in some ways than the paid guys, just because, like I said, when you're paid, that daddy's gone for 24 hours because that's their job, right? You're paid to do it.
Yeah, whether they're running a call or not, they're just at work,
but they're gone. Right, so everybody knows, daddy's going to work today and he's gone for 24. We'll see him tomorrow, kind of thing. But when you're in the paid on call world, it's a different world. And so the inconvenience that goes on, like you were saying, you guys are at somewhere and then all of a sudden dad's got to take off. That's hard on the family because dad's coming and going a lot, and so just talking about that appreciation that people would have for that type of work, like I've always said, I've always really appreciated the volunteer paid on call guys, and I've always had a special appreciation for them in those respects. So I give you lots of kudos, for being a supportive wife and family to him when he runs and stuff. That's a big deal.
Now, do the kids like all fire trucks or just the one that dad? We got to clarify whether dad's the. Do they get excited when they see any fire truck?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily the one that dad's in. They just like fire trucks.
Well, they like the one he's in, but
a little more probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we're in town, Joshua and Benson try to beat each other at who's going to find the fire truck first. So yeah, it's any fire truck. They have their favorites.
Probably not mine.
I can't tell you which of the favorites because
Josh, is that why I've seen you walk around town with eyes over or your hand over his eyes? Like, well,
beating the kids at
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, do any of the kids are they looking at a career? I mean, are they thinking like, I want to be like daddy and I want to be a firefighter too, kind of thing?
Olivia wanted to be a firefighter at one time. I think she's moved on from that. Benson still wants to be a firefighter, but certain days he wants to be a police officer. So,
man, rough.
If you can see the disappointment on Josh's face right now.
Oh boy.
We have a couple police officers that are very near and dear to our hearts. And so if Benson became a police officer, we'd be proud of him.
That's a great career as well.
Yes.
Any police officers watching?
Steve, you don't have to say that. It's all right. It's one thing when it's family, right? It's like they're near and dear to our heart, even if they're not, living up to the expectation of being a firefighter. Listen, sometimes we all fall short of the glory of God, all right? So
everybody needs a hero. That's why
everybody needs
here.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's right. That's so funny.
Do you want to give out any names, Amy, to like who the special police officers are? The director is looking like he's not allowed to mention names because he's the one that's going to see him at the next car accident.
If he cuts off your mic, you know why.
He can. It's over there.
Yeah, it's true.
We're safe.
True.
I only know first names.
Oh.
So I don't know the last names to give them full recognition.
Okay. That's all right. So. We better not throw anybody under the bus. I drive through this county quite often.
You know, thinking about that, just it's something that crossed the mind. But have you ever gone on a ride along? Have you actually gone on calls just to see kind of what? Well, you can go on a ride along where you can go on the call. I don't know if you guys are allowed to do that. I'm not sure what the legalities are. Are you able to do that?
They could do a ride along, but not to an emergency with us.
Oh, they're not able. They're not okay.
Not on an emergency call.
I know in some departments you have to sign a waiver, but what you do is you hang out at the station. You go on calls. You don't do anything. You just sit and watch.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if people are allowed to do that, what the legalities are of that.
Not saying that once or at least once that I can remember of. And I won't mention it that it was their anniversary. That they all showed up to a house fire that we had. And,
Gotcha. Well, no, I mean,
Last year.
Yeah, the kids took turn being in command. They each got to wear my helmet and call the
cute.
shots. And
Oh, they love those pictures.
yeah, it was
No,
their
no.
anniversary. Here they come walking up. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you guys? Oh, it's our anniversary. I'm like,
no, in some large departments, what they do is they'll, for people that are looking to become firefighters, sometimes they'll do a ride along where you will ride with a crew for so long and you sign a waiver and stuff. So I didn't know if they did that. I mean, in Arizona, they did that. So I don't know if they do it out
Yeah.
here.
Well,
we don't get to do that.
The large department that
Okay.
Pete Chaplin's at, they do that. So
I'm sure
when I was a kid, I used to. It was to the point where they were just like, "We're not going to date this. Just put it in the file." Because I'd come
exactly.
around all the time. But my uncle was a full-time firefighter there, and I knew a handful of people that were as well. And so it was kind of like a.
just put him on the schedule.
I mean, almost. I mean, so.
Well, and the reason I say it's kind of cool because you get a chance to see what the station life is like. No, I know it's a little bit different than paying a call, but I'm saying is it like with the station life and how the guys hang out and how they live in their 24-hour period and kind of how they hang out together. So it's interesting if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just curious. We were talking about calls. That's why I thought about it. But
We have never done a ride along, but the kids and I have gotten to go through almost all of the firehouses in Grand Rapids.
oh wow,
Some of the guys will show them where they bunk down for their shift. Show them the lockers, let them get treats. But that's about as far as our experience
gotcha.
goes.
Okay.
Very cool.
Any questions for her back there, producer? No, I don't know what kind of time we're at. I can't see the soundboard.
We're about at
anymore,
time.
So
We're at time.
Yeah, we're about
Okay.
to
we
Time to
probably
close her
gotta-
down, huh?
Yeah,
close her
like-
down. Steve, why don't you tell them about our email address that you're so proud of?
Do you know the story about the email address?
I do not, but I feel like I'm in for a good one.
So this
It's
is
not-
well,
it's
hold on.
not that-
wait
it's
a
not
minute.
that good of a story.
Obviously,
well, what's funny about it?
That answers the question of whether she listens to the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
or not.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because she
honestly.
doesn't know
It's
the
all right.
story.
Thanks a lot, Amy. It's all right, Amy. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, honestly, I've listened to the podcast a few times, but I
Ignore
get busy.
Steve.
I fully support you. I only drink red flannel coffee. Like I am
Nice.
here for you, but
That's
I'm
what I'm
also
talking about.
a busy homeschool mama who does.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
I wear many hats, and so I will listen to it when I can.
The important
It's
thing,
okay.
though, guys,
It's
is
all
that
right.
she's drinking red flannel coffee.
I've done the same with my
All right?
wife. I'm like, hey,
you gotta
Jen.
stay fueled to make it through the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I've done the same thing with my wife. I'm like, Jen, have you listened to podcasts? It's been a while. I have to get to it.
I asked my wife too. She's like, "Yeah, you look like an idiot." I'm like, all right, fair enough.
We know the camera's good.
So no,
It's picking up my best qualities.
it was just funny when I was on the phone with Jake about getting the email address. I'm like, I never set up an email. I don't do it. I'm not a technology guy. And so I'm talking about like, how do you do this? He goes, oh, done. And I'm like, what do you mean done? He literally set up in 30 seconds.
I did it on the phone that you
Yeah,
were
just-
talking through.
Yeah, he was setting
Nice.
up the email. So
It's easy.
running
It's
joke.
not. Yeah, it's not.
Between that and me opening up bags of coffee, there's a whole bunch of things. You have to, if you go back
Yeah.
episodes, you'll get.
I do have a goal to watch them beginning to end, or beginning to current.
Like a,
Or at
like
least
a marathon.
or at least beginning until Steve got on.
Wow. Okay, well, it's time to go, guys.
It cuts me out too, so it's all right.
What's the email address?
Well, I'm getting ready to get
Okay.
there. Hey, well, thank you so much
cliffhanger.
for joining us. If you have any show ideas, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to chat about, please email us at ffifpodcast@gmail.com.
Nice work.
Yes.
There we go.
We might keep you around for 2 more episodes.
I love it. That's all right. I extended my contract. No, make sure to go to YouTube.
One episode at a time.
Go to Spotify, anywhere you enjoy your favorite podcasts. Make sure to join us and kind of listen along with us, laugh along with us. like I said, anything you want to talk about, get with
Have
us.
Steve with us.
And
Yeah.
and
If your favorite podcast is there, ours you'll probably stumble across ours still.
Yeah, eventually.
We should be one of their favorites.
we
Steve.
should be. I know.
You got to
I know.
scroll to the bottom of the page a little ways, but yeah,
But we are also our sponsor.
sure.
We rehung our sign. Looks really
Yeah,
nice.
I don't know if they can see it or not, but yeah, go to redflannelcoffeego.com. You can use PJ30, or if you want, you can now subscribe and save. So get a subscription and have it mailed out to you every month.
Do we have any new blends we need to talk about?
I don't know. I don't know what the last one was that we talked about. So maybe.
All right.
It was the one that Steve gave away that we didn't know
remember?
anything
Yeah,
about.
Steve, whatever happened to that?
I don't,
What-
but no one responded. So
Oh, all right.
I'm waiting for someone to respond with a show idea. I'm buying a free bag of coffee for someone to give the show idea. I'm in. I gotta get.
At this point, it's anybody and any idea.
Yeah,
so,
just-
I mean, there's
So
no
what was
competition.
that?
Just-
podcast.
Yeah. PJ's over there telling Amy to get on there and
Yeah,
order some,
exactly, I
give
know.
him an idea. Oh,
Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us, and we can't thank you enough for spending time with us. Also, too, if you like what we do here, please share it with everybody. We don't ever ask for anything. We don't want money. We don't want anything. We just want half an hour of your time. So please support us with your time. Please share it. With anybody you feel like can use a good laugh or a good cry. At times, depending on our episode. But please, we really appreciate the support. It means a lot to us.
why do you point at you?
I might have cried.
You need a good cry? All right.
So, thank you so much, everybody.
And thank
you guys
thank you, Amy, for
take
taking
care.
more
Yeah, thank you,
time.
Amy, for,
Amy, thank you so much for coming on and spending time with us.
Yeah.
And,
I enjoyed it.
We'll make you a regular. He looks better over there, and he blends right in with the guy that's normally on that chair while we're in studio.
A little bit of a glare, but yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I think Olivia's hopeful that she'll get asked next.
Well,
Hey,
we'll
we
do
can
that.
make
We'll
that
do that
happen.
Bring her
too.
on, yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring Connor back and Olivia. Remember when Connor came on? My son came on. Connor?
I don't think the world could handle that.
That'd be so much. Okay, you're right.
All right. Thanks for
right.
listening, people.
Thank you so much. Take care.
See ya.